Greetings, everyone. I have a I have a different trajectory for today. It's Friday, February. What is today? Friday, February 18th. Today, actually within just the past couple of hours, the sun went into Pisces. And the sensation that I'm inclined to share with you is that of standing on some kind of an edge, peering out over a vista. And the vista is, it's not easy to recognize what this vista is of. But in some sense, I want you to just close your eyes for a second. And imagine, if you will, that before you is an enormous pond or a zone of oceanic awareness. And this presence that seems to pervade everything is inviting you to step forward off of whatever that edge is you are on and plunge deeply into that level of oceanic awareness. That is the realm of Pisces. We all have Pisces in our makeup somewhere. Okay, that's all we need to do with our eyes closed part. How might it be most effective for each of us to tune into that Piscean part of ourselves? It can be anywhere in the chart. And as such, wherever that happens to be, it's going to be in Pisces, but it can be in any one of the 12 houses and tickling any number of different planets. But for right now, I want us to tune into that kind of potential level of experience that begs our participation in as large a context, actually beyond as large a context as we might generally imagine. Can you do that? One of the principles that isn't often spoken of very often when it comes to the land of Pisces is trust. And I don't mean the kind of trust that you have in other people or other situations that are going on. I'm talking about a trust in your deeper self. Can you locate that zone of trust within you that you can count on in every moment, no matter what is transpiring in the outer world around you. Yeah. Now, I'm sure that could easily appear as, whoa, one heck of a tall order. And rightly so, because the invitation to dance along that peripheral state of awareness that is Pisces really begs us to let go of so much of the up and down, in and out, up, all kind of around energy that swirls around us all every day, almost in every moment of our living, physical living experience here on planet Earth. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. Even as I say that, I could easily, come up with, a number of questions. One which raises to the surface of the pile is, last in what sense? Well, there's a natural progression of the signs in the zodiac that begins with the spring equinox and Aries, which is impulse, action, a desire to just begin. Pisces, the sign that comes just before it, is a process of wrapping up a cycle of experience that has involved the 11 signs prior to it and all the experiences that has brought up for us to deal with. And determine what is going to still be relevant in going forward that may have had relevance along the way, but has likely reached a point where we might recognize, yeah, that person that I was really good friends with for a long time, I learned a lot from them, but I'm sensing the beckon of a call to grow in stature within myself beyond what it is that that person or organization may have provided for me, which was extremely beneficial at the time, but no longer carries that same panache of, yeah, that's vitally important. And I really need to dig deeper into that. But more along the lines of it, that was extremely helpful for the time that it was in use. But I'm sensing there's a call to a higher level of awareness in myself, or a broader perspective that replaying over and over again the tapes of what it is that I learned in this previous experience are really not going to be beneficial in the long run. Oh, and what could he mean by the long run? Because in Pisces, the long run I think could easily be phrased as, oh, something like, how about infinity? Ooh, there's something that you don't sit down every day and kind of throw your thoughts into the infinite uh, cauldron of potential. That's the land of Pisces. And as we're standing on that precipice, well, actually, it is also conceivable to be standing on the shore of the oceanic awareness and dip your toes in or start to wade in. But I think what you're going to discover is that's not enough, because the call is coming from the deepest place of that oceanic experience. Are you willing to dive into that depth? So today, when you consider that Piscean part of yourself, might there be a curiosity, that niggling sense that you get in the back of your consciousness that says, there is more, and where can I actually look to find it? The irony is that it doesn't take a lot of running around on planetary Earth to find the openings as access into this deeper level of awareness. But if you can transfer this mental capacity that we all carry with us down a little lower into your heart space, what you might discover is that the answers that you have sought have always been right here within you, just awaiting the chance to be present by you asking appropriate questions. What is the meaning of life? What is the soul? How does spirit fit into the equation? I'm going to shift gears just a little bit here. Oftentimes, when the Piscean realm is brought up in conversation, there's a distracted background kind of murmuring that is transpiring that says, use caution when you step into that realm, because it is the land of imagination and illusion, and you could get lost there. I would not disagree with that supposition. How one becomes lost in that Piscean energy is likely to transpire, is more likely to transpire if we are doggedly hanging on to a lot of the worldly experience, our everyday life factors, and have a minimal willingness to release them, at least for the moment, while investigating where that Pisces energy fits within your matrix. Oh yeah, we're all going to still continue to have to do the things that we do in our day-to-day worlds. But how? I might ask you, are you going to accomplish it? You know, what level of understanding are you going to bring to who you are in the context of your everyday personal life? These are the kind of questions that Pisces meditates upon. Pisces can be seen as an escape mechanism. There's your level of imagination running just a little bit overtly beyond a person's control. I need that beer. I need that drink. I need that toke of that joint. I need to go on another ayahuasca journey and another and another and another. Who is asking those kinds of questions? It's not spirit. It's not your soul. It's not that infinite part of you that recognizes when you incarnated, you had a mission. What do you think of that? So today, the sun has jumped into Pisces, where Jupiter and Neptune, the two planets that have affinity and rulership for that sign, are already present. Neptune has been there for many years. Jupiter just recently went back into it after a brief sojourn. Oh, when was that? Look at the notes, Jeff. Okay. Got to get the right year to look at here. This is a graphic ephemerence. I make these up every year so I can kind of see what kind of a celestial dance are these planets doing that I can look at a glance and say, So let's see. Jupiter went into Pisces back in May of last year and came back out right near the end of July. Actually, it went back into Aquarius. And then, actually, let me get this straight. Jupiter was in Aquarius, went into Pisces between May and the end of July, and then went back into Aquarius. And at the end of last year, oh, wait a second. Nope. It stayed in Aquarius all the way through till the very earliest part of this year. Actually, it just recently went into Pisces. And so Jupiter is, what it takes is, it takes everything and says, I'm the biggest planet in the zodiac, and thusly my energy says, I don't want to look at the small details of things. I want to see the big picture. And anything I touch, I'm going to attempt to expand the parameters, the borders of what it represents, to see how big is it interested in growing. definitely. So Jupiter being in Pisces already, the and that Piscean part of us, wherever it happens to be, I could, just off the top of my head, I say, oh, you got Jupiter in Aries. How how large do I want to make my attempt at going out and conquering the world? How large, how enormous can my investigation of what is totally brand new be? Are there limits from Jupiter's perspective and Pisces perspective? Hell no, no limits. And Jupiter is also the ruler of Sagittarius, where the Sagittarian type investigation has got a horizon that we continue to go over the horizon in our Sagittarian kind of explorations because there's always more, but there's still always that horizon. Pisces is different. There really is no horizon because that's not where the aim is from a Piscean perspective. The Piscean perspective says, I'm already in that point where I have the awareness that I am a part of everything. So horizon, not really a relevant consideration because it's just a continued expansion of what I already am a part of. Yeah, roll that one around in your brains for a little bit. But remember, how about rolling it around in your heart? Really sensing from that deep heart space this oneness of awareness that your soul and spirit know as a reality with everything. That's right, everything. This is not minor stuff for consideration. So some people either standing on the shore or standing on an overlook or a diving board or a diving platform at the potential oceanic awareness before them are not going to be ready and willing to take that next step, to make the plunge into a zone of awareness that they really know only a minimal amount about. And that's exactly the way it will stay for them if they don't take that first movement forward. Let's take I said Pisces and Aries. I meant Pisces in the first house on that last little bit. First house is that impulse, that drive to action and stuff. And Piscean drive for action is going to be, hopefully, along the lines of, yeah, I'm ready to jump into the deep end of that pool, sink or swim. It's, I'm going to learn something from it. Well, and the Pisces for you could be in any one of the 12 houses. If it's in the seventh house, the type of people that you are drawn toward are more than likely, at least you would hope they would have a broader level of awareness and questioning of what it means to be a soul, what it means to actually interact with spirit. People willing to ask penetrating questions about Why is it that we're drawn together? This is Pisces in the 7th house, which is all about that experience of interacting with others. We take our Pisces and put it in we put it in the 9th house. That exploration of the higher mind, further education, religious and theoretical, spiritual quests. And in that case, having Pisces in the 9th house, this is a person who probably won't be too concerned about that horizon line, because there's a inkling of awareness that there's always more, and that it's not a distant kind of more, but it's more like back to our heart again. It's an expansion of what it is that we are already and have not been through the cultural educational process, been rightly informed in our modern culture anyway, of our part in that particular level of wholeness. We take Pisces and we can put it into, we put Pisces in the 12th house, since Pisces is the 12th sign of the zodiac. And this level of awareness, Pisces in the 12th house, is like, I'm home. I'm a part of the universal whole. And as such, there is, let's take that trust experience. First, or the primary investigation of trust is basically trust in, how much do I trust what it is that I understand myself to be? Do I trust the idea of spirit, or do I trust the idea of soul? Do I trust the church that I'm a part of? Do I trust the legal system? So trust, but more, this is an inner trust. And once you've been swimming off into that deep oceanic level of awareness for, and the time period is going to vary from individual to individual, you become aware of a potency. And the potency is the deeper and more involved that investigation into the oceanic depth of awareness brings one into connection with source. Yeah, source is not necessarily a relatively easy term to define, because each one of us has a version of what source represents. And believe it or not, each one is correct. Whoa, wait a second. But their idea of source and my idea of source aren't the same. How limiting is your version of source? This is something to meditate. That 12th house Piscean is asked to do. How limiting are you defining the experience of source? Well, there's some basic Piscean thoughts. Let me stop this for a second. So, we're in Pisces. We've set sail across that oceanic awareness. where is it going to take us? You know, I'm going to quickly pull up this is the chart for Monday of next week. And usually each week I'll write up something to actually consider for looking at the astrology, and then lately I've just been ad-libbing from what it is that I've written up. But this time I'm decided I don't really need to write up all that stuff, because as I'm going through this, you know, it's a conversation with these planetary beings that inspires me to write the things that I write. And even what I've written as I'm going through these presentations each week, they break in and say, hey, Jeff, don't forget this. And, you know, the planets they're powerful energies. And whether you tune into the idea that they can have an effect on us or not, which if you're listening to this, I suspect you recognize that there is some kind of camaraderie, or, you know, is it challenge that brings us face to face with certain kinds of energies as we go through our daily life. So we begin the week, we're in this long cycle right now. Up here, Venus and Mars, these two planets are dancing together, and they will be dancing together on into March. Let's see, I've got it written down somewhere. Venus finally passes Mars on the 6th of March, which is, I believe, the end of that's Sunday of this next week that's coming. But even Venus passing Mars, it doesn't do away with this energy of these two, our masculine and feminine parts, and we all have them. We all have a masculine, we all have a feminine, are, you know, basically asking us to really tune into both aspects and not try to emphasize one over the other, which is very common in what it means to be a human being on planet Earth. We have a Venusian responsive side. We have a Mars energetic driving, you know, kind of side as well, no matter what your gender is. And so anyway, as this week begins, the moon has recently entered Aquarius, and it will, on this Monday, it will catch up with Mercury, and it will catch up with Saturn. So, you know, how we feel, moon, how we think, Mercury, and what are the limitations of that. And I use the limitations with the caveat that it's an Aquarius kind of limitations, which is more along the lines of, if you've seen the Pirates of the Caribbean movie, when Johnny Depp is at the table where they're having the meeting to determine something, and one of the pirates stands up and shoots one of the other pirates, and Johnny Depp goes over to his dad and says, isn't it like against the rules to do that? And his dad kind of goes, it's more like a good idea. And that is Saturn in Aquarius. The rules are kind of like a general guideline, but in the Aquarius archetype, there's a flexibility to grow the rules, not limit them as you might do in a Capricorn perspective, which is, it can be adventurous. You know, there's going to be stops and starts in that process, but the moon's going to kind of go over all of these today. How we're thinking like an Aquarius. What's the big picture? How many people can we get together all at one time? I want to feel the energy of what they represent. And Saturn is saying, yeah, let's feel that energy, but let's set some limits as to who we might invite to the circle. The sun, which remember last week entered Pisces, which is actually today while I'm talking. This doesn't make sense. It seems like, anyway, it's made it to 10 degrees. I don't know how it could have entered on Friday and by Monday. It seems like I'm missing a week in here. Am I missing a week? Next week is, I am missing a week. Oh, joy for joy. Good thing I take notes, huh? We're going to go back a week. Yeah, I don't like that. Hang on a second. I'm gonna fix. Okay. Let's drop the real chart for next week. It'll be a little bit more helpful than the one I have for March. The reason I have March is because I always do the month ahead so that I can kind of see some of the energies that are coming down the pike that we're going to be playing with. So let's see where we go from here. Yes, right. Back to our Mars and Venus. They're still traveling, really close together. Mercury is recently, last week, it went into Aquarius and is moving toward that. Saturn isn't there yet. So we'll just scratch all that other stuff that I said before. The sun has basically 5 days ago, which is, oh, by the way, today, entered into Pisces. And, the whole Piscean energy experience has been kicked up. We look at our aspects. Let's see, what have I got? I don't have a lot of aspects written down for this week. I see Mars here, or actually, yeah, Mars. Mars is right now at 22 degrees of Capricorn, is forming a sextile with Neptune in Pisces. Think of, and Mars is exalted in Capricorn, which means that it's feeling its oats. And, it would be relevant to make sure that in feeling its oats, it's also traveling conjoined with the Venusian energy. So feeling its oats, both in its masculine and its feminine gender qualities. Yeah. And having that kind of energy in a sextile with Neptune, which is basically the unlimited frontier in Pisces, which is also the unlimited frontier. Creative imagination is being spurred or spiked right now by this Martian energy in Capricorn, saying, oh, by the way, when we take that step into the unlimited and profoundly deep, resonant Piscean field, is there still going to be relevance to the masculine and feminine energies as we plumb the depths of that oceanic awareness? That's a good question, because here on planet Earth, the physical qualities that we experience are more likely to lean into those gender qualities than I think would easily be seen as overtly relevant at the soul spirit level. Soul and spirit understand the gender qualities, but it's a very different level of awareness. I think I'm just going to let you think on that one. This is part of that learning curve of what it means to go into that deeper zone. You know, we put a whole heck of a lot of energy into the portrayal of ideal masculine, ideal feminine energies in our physical experience of being on planet Earth. I think of back along the worms, I think of morality. You know, we have moral dictates that say this is moral, that's immoral. Whereas when you get to the soul spirit level, you end up with an experience which is amoral. It doesn't really suit the moral immoral equation that we in the physical part of our journey tune into readily. More stuff to just think about there. You might want to look up amoral and see just what it says. Anyway, this is the 23rd. What day are we on? So this is Wednesday of next week. Because there really wasn't anything that I saw transpiring before that time. And then we go the 24th. You know, this is something I need to be able to work on to be able to figure out how to make this so I don't get a double chart out of it. I only want the single chart to move. But anyway, this is the single chart for Wednesday. And we're now on, this is the Thursday chart that's around the outside. Even though it doesn't say it. It is the Thursday chart. I know, just what we have is, let's see. Did I get the right? Something is not right here. I need to figure out what that is. Oh yeah, I see what it is. Wrong chart. Went ahead a week. Back a week. Back to our days. Yeah, I was kind of thinking, how the heck did we get to the new moon already? Okay, there we go. Now we've got Thursday on the outside wheel. This is Wednesday on the center wheel. What we have on Thursday is, you know, since these two guys are traveling in unison, Venus and Mars, Venus moves into 22, which is where Mars is. And so it moves into that sextile with Neptune. And I think that I would just put that into that emphasis category of, you know, really doing the meditation on the relevance. You know, while we're here in the physical planet, being a male or a female is relevant. Being aware because of the combination of Venus and Mars, both tickling this Neptune at the same time, it's good to really meditate upon that and find those parts within yourself that are not necessarily gender specific to you, and recognize that they are still a part of you. They just may not be being played quite as readily, but they're there. Okay. And we go ahead one more day to the 25th. We're on Friday of this next week coming up. And the aspect that I have showing is Mercury has moved into a, actually, you see it says 12 degrees here, but it's real early 12. And Mercury's, it's moving fast. Let's go back a day. See, it's at 10 degrees 51. It's almost caught up with Uranus. So somewhere during Thursday, Friday, Mercury moves into a square with Uranus. Okay. Mercury, how we think, is being stimulated, and stimulated is, no understatement, by Uranus, which is Uranus likes to shake things up. And it's the ruler of Aquarius, and Mercury's up there in Aquarius. So it's just kind of like, I need to think out of the box. Who needs a stinking box? So there's an interesting thing. And when I looked at the whole entire week, those are the major aspects that transpire this week. We can bounce the chart ahead a couple more days, because this is Thursday, Friday, and really the mover is always the moon, because the moon moves 12 to 13 degrees a day. So it's entered Capricorn on Saturday, and when we close out the week, it's gone over Venus, Mars, Pluto on Sunday. So basically, it's picking up, bringing in that receptive, nurturing lunar quality into how we are going to play our masculine and feminine sides. And with Pluto being in that equation, because Pluto's right there next to those two planets, Pluto says, oh, what or how willing might you be to utilize your compost pile, a compost pile, to jettison things that you are no longer utilizing into, so that they can be reformulated. And if you think of the composting process, everything on planet Earth eventually is composted at varying rates. Every human being that ever was and will be will compost back into the earth in some fashion. And that is a returning of the physical resources of the planet back to the planet. You see the plants, a lot of plants die completely out, or seemingly completely out, every winter, and the ones that don't, they're shedding leaves and stuff all the time, or needles, or whatever it is that they have. The rocks disintegrate from the experience of just, the slow movement of the earth. The earth is alive. It moves. Don't forget that. Anyway, I think that's probably as much as I need to do astrologically. I can't apologize for the beginning part that I did for this Piscean consideration, because it's one of the deepest and most profound levels of spiritual investigation that is possible. And it happens in your heart. It doesn't happen up here, unless the heart is recognized as having way more substance or energy than the up here. And the up here can be utilized by the heart. Other way around, head trying to use the heart, oh, trouble. You can see the trouble just paying attention to what's going on in the world these days. The head is trying to use everything that it can. And, sometimes the heart's involved, but at what level? That is a good question to think on. Anyway, welcome to Pisces. And next week, we'll get to the correct chart, we hope, when we start out. And this is an adventure. Life really is an adventure. And I thank you for participating with me. I do chart readings. I do them all the time. And so if you're interested, you can get in contact with me. Astro Shapeshifting at Gmail. Was it Astro Shapeshifter? Astro Shapeshifter at gmail.com, or Aquarius X3 at gmail.com. Or you can go to my website, which is astroshapeshifting.com. Anyway, ciao for now. It's been a delight. we'll see if we can come up with something interesting for next week.